Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to Wednesday morning. Get up, rise and shine. It's going to be a great day. You do know that, hey? We're talking about Joseph, and his story is a unique and a very beautiful one found in the last section of the book of Genesis. We've been talking about some of the tests that he's had to undergo, some of the tests that he has had to pass. He had to first of all pass the test of slavery, the unfairness of life, being taken out of place of privilege, sold as a slave. We learned there that his key to suffering slavery was understanding the sovereignty of God, that God somewhere in all of this stuff must have a plan. And that was Joseph's hold on to thing. The second thing was he had to pass the test of stewardship, because out of slavery he became a steward, and he used beautifully the things that he had been given to build up the business of his master. Same as God. God gives us stuff, and one day we will stand before him and have to account for that which he has given us and how we have used it. Today I want to move on to another one, and this is probably one of the toughest tests that he would have had to pass, was the test of self-pity. You see, from being Potiphar's right-hand man, he was taken from that place of high privilege and thrown into a stinking, dark, miserable prison. Potiphar's wife had lied about him. Potiphar believed his wife, and Joseph was taken and thrown in a prison. He must have sat there, must have thought, well, what have I done to deserve this? I'm innocent of the crime that I have been convicted of. I'm not here because I've done something wrong. But he understood a few things about understanding the test of self-pity. The first thing I think he understood was he understood that injustice is a part of life. He was not there justly. People, it happens to all of us. If we're looking for fair treatment in life, man, you're not looking in the right life, because this life is full of injustice. It's part of life. Life is not fair. Even if you went back and had a look at his brothers too suffered injustice. Why was it that Joseph was the favored one? Why was it that they were rejected of their father in favor of Joseph? That wasn't just, that wasn't good. So injustice is everywhere you look. And everywhere around you, there are people suffering from some form of injustice, some more gross than others, because injustice is just simply an abuse of power. There are people who abuse their power all over the place, from politicians to parents to principals to whoever. There's somebody out there ready to victimize you by the abuse of their power. It's part of life. Sometimes we bring it upon ourselves. Sometimes somebody inflicts it. Satan can use somebody. And sometimes people, it's just a part of life. Life is not fair, so we better get used to it. But the second thing is that he understood, to avoid this victim's mentality, was to understand that there is a prison, or there was for him a prison that was worse than the prison made of bricks and bars. And that's the prison that goes on in your mind. A victim's mentality is somebody who's always thinking that somebody's out to get him. And there's a victim's mentality that suggests that people are out to get me. Listen, people don't talk nearly about you, as much about you as you think they do. And so we tend to think that people think a whole lot more about us than in fact they actually do. But the physical prison of bricks and bars is nowhere near as the prison that is in our minds. But the worst thing about the prison that's in our minds is you're the jailer. You're the one who keeps the key to release yourself from your own prison. Think about that for a moment. And then I want to give you two things that people who are able to release themselves from their own victim situation, where they're crying out, woe is me, and this is a place of self-pity, you need to be honest about working that out, because that's not a pleasant thought, is it? But there's two things that get people out of that prison of self-pity. The first one is the promises of God. The second one is the presence of God. Have a look at that beautiful story in Pilgrim's Progress, where he found himself in a prison of doubt, doubting castle, and the giant's despair. Read the story, it's a great story. A giant despair had thrown him in the prison, and every day the giant would come down to his cell and would beat the heck out of him, and then would go back and then come back the next day. That's kind of like the prison in our mind. We visit it every day, and doubt and pain visit us every day in the midst of our prison. And then one day he remembered something that he was given at the cross. he was given a scroll. And he thought about the scroll. He's in the middle of the prison, the darkest place of his life. And he takes a scroll out of his pocket, and it's full of the beautiful promises of God. And he begins to read the promises. Suddenly the prison is not so dark. Suddenly lights come on in the prison. Suddenly, as he's reading these promises of God, that the prison doesn't look as bad as it was, the door opens and he realizes this is his way of escape. And so he takes his escape. And as he's walking out, he's quoting the promises of God. He's saying them to himself. He's practicing faith talk, which is a great thing to do. And it wasn't like he was talking to the wall. He was talking to his mind about the great promises of God. That's the first thing. The second thing that he acknowledged was the presence of God in the midst of the prison. People, you've got to understand that prison is in your mind, and God is as much in your mind as you will allow him to be. So today, maybe you're suffering the injustices of life for whatever reason. I implore you, I encourage you to get out the Bible, read some of the beautiful promises of God that he's made to you. Enjoy his presence, practice his presence wherever you are, whether in the lowness of life, whether you're in a sad situation, whatever. I have a friend who's in our care center at the moment, and his name is Roger, and love this man, and I'm learning so much from him. But he's been through a really tough situation, and I'm enjoying just watching him battling with these things. And I'm referring back to him the promises of God, and that God is with him. And I just know that Roger's going to be fine, because he's going to hold on to those beautiful, beautiful truths. When you're in the prison, may not be a physical one, might be up here. Practice the presence of God. Hold on to, with everything you've got, hold on to the promises of God. They are yea and amen. I remember my old pastors telling me that. Yea means yes, and they are amen, they are done. Enjoy that. Thanks for listening to me for a little bit longer today. Have a great day. Cheers, guys. Bye.